Yes, that's right. Today is the last AMA that we have scheduled. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us and welcome. This session today is on creating custom merchandise. I'd like to start by acknowledging that the BC Alliance for Arts and Culture is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. And we're grateful to be here working and learning on this land that they have stewarded since time immemorial.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Bealey. Robert Wimet, whose voice you might have heard as you entered the room today, is from Big Snip Media Consulting, right there for me. There's Robert. And Robert and I are your co-producers, co-designers, co-facilitators for All Things Digital Ladders that is produced by the BC Alliance for Arts and Culture. And we love working with Brenda, Joyce, Taylor, the team there. And Digital Ladders is funded by the Canada Council for the Arts and BC Arts Council. So big thanks to them for supporting what we're doing. And this is sort of towards the end of our second season of Digital Ladders. And it's been a program with multiple parts to it. They're all meant to be comfortable, fun, and yet provocative doorways open for the culture sector to learn more about digital either tools for organizing how you work, for how you reach your audiences, or for how you express your creativity. So we've done a bunch of stuff and we've seen a bunch of these names around different activities and events. And I feel like we should have a really big party at some point, but sigh, that hopefully will come. So today we're going to focus on Roland and about custom merchandise. And Roland is an incredible creative digerati, I would say, who I've been introduced to Roland through Robert Wimet. And Roland is not only an incredible thinker and ideator, and but his creativity emanates off of him, usually in everything he's wearing. Which has all been created from different photography and graphic art that Roland has created. So we're going to learn from Roland today. If you have questions, you just put them into the text, please, in the chat, sorry, and I will be pulling from that to interrupt Roland. If you have a question you just want to ask so that I call on you to unmute you, just put a question mark in the chat and I'll know that you're in the queue to ask a question. Otherwise, I'll do most of the interrupting of Roland so y'all can, so I can take the blame for that. So Roland's going to start with a short presentation and you're welcome to ask questions during the presentation as well. And we're going to kick this off. Over to you, Roland.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. The whole screen and nothing but the whole screen.
Roland, why don't you do a little more about your background?
Oh yeah, well, I was just going to get this tech set up because, you know, tech can can everyone see the first slide?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm Roland. I don't know. I'm formerly trained as an engineer from the University of Waterloo. I worked at Nortel. I worked at Mozilla on Mozilla Firefox as a support engineer, and I'm now working for a messaging company in the UK. And along the way, I helped start a Drupal startup called Bright. And so I'm quite familiar with teaching or dialoguing with normal people on how to use tools like website creators like Drupal and WordPress, and how to use Firefox and how to use messaging tools. And since about the Winter Olympics, my friend, some of you may know, Mark Busey, said, what are you going to do with all those photos? And so about 2010, this is where my journey. So thank you, Mark, because really that was the tipping point at which brought me to this. So over the years, I've created mostly clothing, hats, ties, the shirt I'm wearing, which is that background, which I will now change if I can figure out how to do this in full screen because it's so distracting. But yeah, oh, art, yeah, no, this one. It's been a great journey and I've learned a lot of things. I'm by no means the world's expert and no one can be because it's just endless. But yes, please follow Sue's guidelines and I'll take questions anytime through Sue and the chat. Yeah, so swag for all. you're artists. We're all artists, actually. But you're particularly artists if you're in the BC Artists Alliance for Arts, and you're in the newsletter and all that stuff, and you have the ability to make swag. So that's my title, right? Imagination plus images is all you need to make swag. And how do I go to the next slide? Oh, I've forgotten how to use this.
We also have, are you going to be talking also about Galleriste? Is that how you say it? That's,
Gallerist?
yeah, like Le Galleriste. Do you know that site?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
Somebody put in the chat.
That's all right. Keep going.
There are lots of things. Yes. So I make swag from collages and infographics. But you don't need to do that. You can make it out of non-abstract pictures. Not, things that you have in your archives. So that's a little bit about me. You can contact me through email. That would be the best, or follow me on Instagram, or follow my blog, which is kind of all over the place, so maybe not the best place. But for this, Instagram and probably emailing would be great. I love to answer emails. Yeah. So you already have the stuff to make great swag. You have your archives. Everyone has a phone these days, or maybe you're one of those resistors who doesn't have a phone, a smartphone, so-called smartphone. But I think most people do. They have pics and videos. You have incredible archives. You have words. I've seen people make incredible swag out of just words and setting words in PDF, like taking a picture of words or posters, or using something like Preview app on Macintosh. And of course, you can make new stuff for your swag. But yeah, I think everyone has something that they can start with. So it may seem daunting, but if you can use Instagram or spreadsheets or TikTok, or you know how to write a blog post with a photo, you can make all these things that I mentioned in this slide. You can make t-shirts. I have running shoes, baseball caps. This is a picture of my mother, so it's not abstract. Hoodies, COVID masks, tote bags, bicycle journeys, ties. Yeah. You just use a web app to upload your images, I mean, I know everyone has varying levels of comfort with that. And then you fiddle, play around, and submit it to get it made. And it's like magic. From digital, it becomes real. So I've made many, many t-shirts. This is one of them where I took, I believe that's Cape Canaveral, JFK Space Center in Florida. And I took samples, little squares from images, and then I collaged them together using a tool that I'll talk about later. Tights. During this pandemic, I rode my bicycle around the streets of East Vancouver, which is full of cherry blossoms. And I took thousands of photos. And again, I made a collage. And then I made tights with this company in Montreal called Art of Wear, W-H-E-R-E. They don't make men's tights, only women's. But I wear women's large. But they're expanding their range, so someday they'll have men's. They also make masks. And so I use the same photos and basically the same technique to take segments or pieces of photos of cherry blossoms in East Vancouver and collage them together and then make a mask. And then it has a filter pocket. It's quite nice. And I have the tie and the sweatshirt, not the shorts. I haven't found a custom short producer, but I'm looking. If anyone knows, I would love to make custom shorts. But yeah, where was that picture taken? Jeez, I don't even know. Shoes, as I mentioned, basically it's a running shoe, a sneaker, whatever you want to call it, with your pattern. And then you can unzip, it's like a cover. You can unzip it and put a new one on. So, where do you start? These are the people the suppliers, vendors, whatever you want to call them, that I have used in Granville Island, if you're Vancouver, like I know we've opened this up to worldwide participation, or is it just Canada?
I think it's just BC.
Oh, it's just BC. Anyways, Make Vancouver and Granville Island is fantastic. I think they're currently closed for small. They're always retooling and improving their website, so they might be closed. But you can go to Make Vancouver. The link, you'll click on the presentation. But I think if you Google Make Vancouver, and you upload your images and you make your stuff. So they have baseball caps, they have shirts. Art of Wear, which is a funny name. Like I don't understand how they started this name, but I mean it's just as arbitrary as Zazzle. Art of Wear is in Montreal, as I said. They do tights, they do the COVID masks. They keep expanding their range. So there's somebody to watch out for, and it's really nice to have these really two awesome suppliers. Art of Wear is basically only shut down for a few weeks during the COVID pandemic. They do excellent work out of Montreal, and they like sew them in Montreal, as far as I know. Make Vancouver too. Like I don't know where to get the shirts from, maybe China or maybe the United States or Mexico, but then they are very nice, very approachable, and they turn around is great. And if you're in Vancouver or have access to Vancouver or someone in Vancouver, you can save on the shipping. Yo Shirt is what I did for this. It's kind of a quirky, fun app. You know the equivalent of Instagram filters. Well, Yo Shirt has them for your t-shirt and your sweatshirt designs. Zazzle does too, and I've used Zazzle the most. I don't know why, but it just seems to work. If you don't want to deal with, if you're want to deal with US shipping, Zazzle.ca is better, although it's been kind of weird during the pandemic, to be honest, because they do weird cross-border stuff. And so even though you order from Zazzle.ca, nominally their Canadian branch, it sometimes goes to the US, and in COVID times, like now, it is delayed. But there's many, many more. I'd love to hear more. Like I said, I'm looking for a place that does shirts or shorts. I know there's places, I can't remember, does hockey pucks? Like, all the traditional stuff. Like when you were growing up, hockey pucks, hockey jackets, that stuff is, easier to get. But yeah, I can, if anyone is looking for other suppliers, I can help you out. We don't have to be just in the world. I believe Zazzle has a subsidiary in Europe, and I believe there are suppliers who will ship from Europe or Africa or even Asia, assuming your credit card works, to people in those continents.
So, Roland, I just have a question I want to ask. Is when you're doing these things, like if you just want one, like are you doing it? Yeah, like or wholesale. There's somebody else here.
Oh, good point. Good question.
Pricing. And do I order 50 that then I have in my garage that I have to ship out?
Oh, yes.
And how do I pay for it? Like, is it like, tell us about a little how this all works.
Okay, so excellent. Okay, so I'm not doing this for my arts organization or for my artistic practice, so I'm not trying to make money off it. I just order onesies and twosies. However, Zazzle allows you to set up your own shop with your own vanity URL, your like website within their thing, and people can order. And they take care of the shipping. You don't have to pay up front 50. Same thing with Art of Wear. Art of Wear, I think, is flexible. It can hook up, if anyone's familiar with Etsy, I believe it can hook up with, connect to Etsy stores. And you have choices. You can buy 50 in advance, or you can get them to fulfill it on demand. So you don't have to put up any money up front. So the way I was thinking of this was that, it's an experiment. You maybe make 1, 2, or 3, you do one-offs, and then you auction them. If you have a following, it doesn't have to be an Instagram following. It can be a real world following. If you have a mailing list, you make these pieces based on your archives or new material that you've gathered during the pandemic, and then you just sell them as a fundraiser. It's like, I need money, because people are actually, as far as I can tell from my bubble, people are actually looking for places to spend their money. We're not going to theaters. We're not going to even galleries, like the galleries attendance, art galleries attendance are down. So they're looking for a place to spend their money. So maybe this is a time when you can do something you wouldn't ordinarily do, just maybe for the next year or two. That's what I was thinking with this. But Art of Wear definitely has bulk discounts. Zazzle definitely does. Both places you can set up your own particular store, no money up front, which is great. I've personally had people buy my stuff from Zazzle and Art of Wear, and I got, I don't know, $2 per piece or something like that.
So let me just go through this again. Okay. So Roland, if for example, I'm an organization that wants to sell some swag to help us get through a really tough time, right? So say for example, I'm going to put some of my paintings on different artifacts and
Yes.
I want to create a store where people can buy those
Yes.
items and they can even choose what painting they want. Who do I set that up with? And then how do I get a profit? And what do
Um,
I have to do?
I could tell you Art of Wear allows you to set up your store,
Mhm.
no money for upfront. You upload your piece and you tell them the price. You set the price. And then they um, give you the money when people buy it through PayPal.
And what do they add to it in terms of their fee?
Uh, it's basically their cost, as if you were buying it as you don't get it much of a break. Um, However, Art of Wear has volume discounts. If you were to buy it up front, you could drop ship 50 to somewhere and then you get a discount. But yeah, so like the tights are like $55 and then you could set the price higher and then say 75 and then you get a $25 cut, say,
Mhm.
something like
Okay.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's different questions here, which I don't know if we've sort of addressed already. So Chandra's saying, what do you suggest for ship on demand? And that's where somebody can order it and it goes to them directly.
Yeah.
So you're saying Zazzle can do that.
Zazzle and Art of Wear can do that. You set up a mini shop and then people log in and I know Art of Wear definitely pays you and it's Canadian, it's easier. Yeah.
Okay,
And you don't have to do anything other than upload, design your thing, design your swag, and other
and then
people.
that money comes to my bank account, my PayPal account. How does that?
PayPal, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
There are
do
Etsy options which I haven't investigated.
okay, and then I have to claim that as part of my revenue on my
Yes.
right. Okay.
Yes. Or
Um,
you could buy 5, ship them to your place, and then sell them,
so
auction them,
right.
raffle them.
So do you know any companies that do wholesale pricing? So that would be if you are buying on bulk.
Art Aware does wholesale.
Yeah.
Jack Root, which does bicycle jerseys and which is in Vancouver, they do wholesale. Like if you buy 50 bike jerseys for your customized bike jerseys for your bicycling club, or even just to sell to your supporters, you don't have to be a bicycling club. I know that. So there's
And what's
people like
that
that.
called? What's that service called? Jackroot? What'd you
Yeah,
say?
JAKROO.com. Um, I know that, for example, at my old company, Mozilla, we did Jack Root jerseys, and we paid for them upfront, got a discount.
Right. Okay. So, do you design, purchase, and then resell? So again, it seems like there's multiple ways to do this, right? Depending on the
Yes.
quantity and what your strategy is. If you're trying to, because I can imagine I might put on my newsletter, if you want to have a BC Alliance for Arts and Culture tote bag, you
Yeah.
go here and order it,
Yeah.
and we just see a little a little bit of money off of that for the Arts and Culture Alliance, but we don't have to deal with any of the um, shipping or any of
No.
that stuff, right?
No.
Okay. Or what I could do is I could say I'm going to order 100 arts and culture tote bags, and I am going to maybe put different pieces of BC art on them that I have permission for, and then maybe I'm going to raffle them off so that maybe the you know Shane
Right.
Koyman quote tote bag may go for higher than something else,
That's
right?
right.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
different
Yeah,
ways.
and you can use your existing channels to market that and to even like do the raffle, and you can use other tools like, I don't know, you can use Google Doodles and things like that. You can do a poll of your people, of your tribe, if you're members of your supporters, and see what they're interested in,
Right.
and
And then
maybe co-create it.
you can mock up designs and then the top five
Yeah,
or whatever is what you can go. Okay, whatever.
yeah.
Annalise has got here from the Art of Wear. All artists receive 25% commission on all product sales from an Art of Wear store. You
Thank you, Annalise.
you post your artwork, we produce and ship your products and pay you 25% commission per sale. One of the highest commissions offered currently on artwork printed products online. Woo!
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't think it was that high actually.
And Francesca says, does Art of Wear allow you to create your entire design? So if I have two photos on my phone, can I collage them together and create a design in Art of Wear, or do I need an outside program to do that?
Uh, yes, and?
Ooh, go in.
Well, it's just because there are endless photo manipulation apps on phones now. So Artware's web app requires a very specific format, like X pixels by Y pixels. You know, you can imagine the size of a leg, for example, for tights. It has to be long and narrow. So they require that. Now I know in the old days, you couldn't do that on your phone. However, it's 2021. You can do everything on your phone. You can run Photoshop, you can run other things, and you can make it exactly into their format. Or you can just play around with it and upload whatever you got and see how it looks. You can pretty much tell if it's going to be a disaster. It tells you if you don't have enough pixels. Like you want to have, for something that's as large as tights, you know, they're long and skinny. Oh, you can't see that. I need to turn off this background. Choose virtual background. None. There we go. Now you can see my messy place, and I could stop the screen share. But let's just go for one last slide, which if I could figure out how to use Google Slides. Yeah, thank you. I'm available Friday afternoon Pacific time if anyone wants to chat for a one or free 30-minute session with me, because I really love this stuff and I really would love to help you at least make a nice minimum viable product. Obviously, it doesn't scale, so if 30 people contact me, it might take a while.
But that's great. No, that's great. If you'll spend 30 minutes with anybody, sort of helping them figure out what would be the right tool or how to actually put the asset together for what they're trying to do, that's a phenomenal offering. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, and one last thing is Image Magic is what I use for collaging, which is very geeky. Oh, you won't see that, will you? Because I'm not sharing my screen.
No, we can see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very geeky, but it works, and it works really well. The kind of people who would be good at this are the kind of people who love Photoshop or the kind of people who love to tinker with the command line. And, you know, lots of organizations and people know people like that. There's more of us than you think. RNI Films is one of my favorite apps for making black and white, but it does color filters, also good for making your swag. And for something totally completely different, if you want to promote a cheap and cheerful podcast of $10 a month US, micro.blog and its companion iOS app to record micro.blog podcasts. Believe it or not, you can have a podcast. It won't be Robert Wimet quality, but it will be cheap and cheerful. And it could just, you pay the $10 a month for the duration of this pandemic, and then you discontinue it. Not everything has to be permanent and super high, awesome, glossily produced. Although those are awesome too. I love the CBC. I love all the podcasts that I listen to. So yeah, I'll stop sharing.
But why don't you, while you're still on sharing, why don't you do a little demo for us of uploading something?
Oh, all right. Okay, yeah.
Do a little walkthrough. Yeah.
Okay, I figured how to use this. Here's Make Vancouver. Do you see that?
Yep.
And now it's full screen. So this is, yeah, so you see makevancouver.com. And then, how do I hide this? So design it, for example, design with printing. Embroidery is really expensive, but super awesome. That might be one of these, one of a type things. And then if I filter for adults, just say, for example, and oh, there's custom face mask adult. Oh, okay. What I meant to do was t-shirts. So tops. Everyone has their own
Words.
taxonomy,
Annalise
whatever.
is getting crazy right now.
Yeah, if you're a microcopy enthusiast, this kind of thing gets kind of. Oh, sorry, did I not click on design with printing? Yes. Oh, right. And then, yeah, it's kind of confusing. But I mean, and then customize. No, internet is slow.
It's because we're on Zoom.
And so you have white. You can change the color. I prefer non-white, but white is cool, especially if, but let's just leave it at white. And then you can upload your design. So I conveniently have a picture of my bicycle here. $30 Canadian, you see here. And you can have two-sided for more money. Eventually it will show up. You can do things, they have Their web applications typically have filters. So this is a picture of my bicycle or car. I don't know what it is. And you can do both sides, and then you just have to create an account and you save it. And then Make Vancouver does a quick check, and I believe they email you. So there's humans in the loop still. I think they had plans to change that. And then you pick it up at Granville Island, or you get it shipped to you anywhere in Canada.
And so how do you create a store? If I want to create Sue's Dance Company,
So good question.
and wouldn't it be fun if maybe this is a thing for the Alliance to see if we could get a discount, that members of the Alliance get a discount or something on services with Make Vancouver?
I don't actually know how to create a store in Make Vancouver. I've done it on Zazzle and Art of Wear.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Because this way I could make it and I can get it, but it doesn't allow me to use it as a fundraiser.
Why don't I? What I was actually also going to offer was like a PDF of creating your store and creating a shirt, like for Art of Wear and Make, because they're Canadian. That's what I was going to say,
Okay,
and I forgot to mention that.
so
Yeah.
a PDF of basically how to create a store, you're saying?
Yeah, and how to create your first design.
Oh,
It
cool.
might be fairly long, and but it's not that hard. It's just that there's a lot of steps, and they change it. They change it. So here's Zazzle to give you another idea. So Zazzle.ca, and I have my own store on here, but I don't remember. It's been a while. How to do it. So why don't I do that for Make Vancouver and Art of Wear? I definitely have a store on Art of Wear where you can buy my tights. Let me see if I can log in. Ooh. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's my store. artofwear.com/artist/Rollington-Low. So you can go in here and you can buy.
And you're saying,
and then I get 25%. I thought I could set the price, but no, I was confused with some other store.
Right. So we can go in here, buy your cherry blossom masks.
Right. Or tights.
And all that you do is you just get your 25% payment through PayPal.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to do anything.
Don't have to do anything. No commitment. It's great.
No commitment. You don't lose any money.
Yeah.
Right. And if we happen to have a conductor or an artist or somebody we're celebrating or a play that we're launching, we could do a piece of art and put it there and do it as a fundraiser, or have it for some sort of event where we could then promote that to our audience.
Yep. Or they could we're in Canada, right? So they could interact e-transfer you. You could have like a little auction, maybe. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
You can have a little auction or draw, and people, that way you have the money up front, and then you order it and ship it to them direct.
Right.
For them.
Right. So
that's another way. There's lots of ways you could do this. So yeah, it's super fun. And
Sonia says, when did you upload these and have you sold many? Like, how do you get?
I uploaded this, the mask. I'm gonna say May or June, and I've sold 3 or 4, but I didn't do any promotion. It was just my friends on Instagram thought, oh, this is neat, and ordered it through the link in profile on Instagram, which.
So I think this is the piece to talk about too, is that Art of Wear does this part of the process, but they don't market for you.
Yeah, you need to market yourself.
You need to be your own marketer, right?
Yeah,
whether that's through social media or email to your subscribers, your audience, but so that you can't just expect other people to find this stuff and buy it. You can promote it and promote the links, and then you just end up watching to see if there's uptake.
Yeah, and if you have an so-called influencer in your network, someone who's super popular, and they can put a link in their profile in Instagram or whatever website they use or tool that they use, that's one way. If the influencer is followed by many people in your target demographic, or the power of your mailing list and the power of your network. I mean, you might actually not want an influencer with 50,000 followers. You might actually just want to go to your 1,000 people. And if you've co-created it with them, if you've taken them on this design process together maybe, or some other novel way, they might be receptive to it. Like you only need 100 people to buy $100 or $50, right? To make an impact. So I guess it depends on your goals and your networks. If you want to expand your network, then you get other people, outsiders, and you get marketing, put the heavy marketing thing. But I'd imagine that a lot of these people on this call have their network of fans, people who've bought their work before, or people who've come out to their theater, or people, so it's always good to have those people.
And it
It start
might
with them.
it might be interesting to do something that's bound to a time or an event that,
Yes,
if there's going to be, some sort of, this would have been the anniversary or the opening, and show solidarity by, wearing a t-shirt or buying a t-shirt that's a gorgeous piece that's from the Vancouver Playhouse, from their beautiful artwork that's been on their promotion materials or something, that you do it. And it's about a solidarity thing around either an event or a statement, as well as just having a cool t-shirt.
yeah,
Or
and yeah,
to
tights
get
or
people
whatever.
out, like wearing, if there's going to be a walk or a march or a something or a barbecue, something
Exactly.
that we're allowed to do, that to show, that you bought a t-shirt in solidarity for that event.
Right. Exactly. And the yeah, the it's all about creating something that people want, and or is interesting, or is one-off, because I know that a lot of people want unique pieces. So this is actually ideal for this. And you could auction off a unique piece, like I was saying, and maybe do it with an influencer, or maybe doing it with a uh, super influential person in your existing community, your existing fan base, or whatever you got.
Okay.
um, yeah. Uh,
And then
the Go ahead.
I was going to say, so the online stores, there's the framework here, and then you want to take your store and promote it and your idea.
Yeah, I will prepare the art of wear, and I'll see if we can do it with Make Vancouver. I'll prepare one PDF, possibly two. And if do we have the email of everyone who's signed up? Could send it to
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joyce can send that stuff out. Okay, so I mean, it's really sort of kind of a little basic plug and play. It's very possible for
Yeah.
organizations to not take a huge hit, to be
Yes.
able to offer some merchandising,
Yes.
branded merchandising, and especially some creative, funky, cool
Yeah.
novelty merchandising.
Yeah.
Um, does anybody have any other questions? Because otherwise, I kind of feel like it was
Well,
rolling.
the kind of things Zazzle's awesome. Like you can make, they're all awesome, but you can make. I made this Adidas branded thing. I don't know what you would call this. A sweat top, zip top, and I put maps of Vancouver on the back and the tights. Um, I love pink, so long sleeve t-shirt. It's just so many things you can do. And it's just, it's kind of like, email me if you want to have a Friday session for half an hour, and we can take it from there. But the kind of your social media intern, if that's you, or your son or daughter, or you're the neighbor, or your, yeah. I see something in the chat. Is there an
Yeah,
original cost? No, it's you do not pay to upload or join any of these things. No cost.
so no worry about giving it a whirl.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to make sure that you have the rights to use the images,
Yeah,
things like that, but I'm sure you handle that already. Like we're all sensitive to only using the works that we have permission for.
yeah.
Uh,
I could see like Nicola's on the call here, and I could see totally doing something for the Nikkei Museum, and something that's gorgeous and beautiful, that's really specific to that those supporters would love to have. Um,
ah, I
okay,
just missed another question. It just
is it
flashed up and I missed it.
on the t-shirt, that plastic printing?
Good question, right? Because allergies, because some people can't wear certain materials, right? Is that where we're going here?
Maybe just want to know
Yeah,
the quality too.
yeah. So Zazzle will print on cotton t-shirts. They'll also print on polyester. A lot of them do polyester, sadly. Cotton is more problematic, but yeah. I haven't researched the what you call it, hypoallergenic nature of these things, but I believe it's all on their website, or you could ask their support team.
Is the ink, what's the ink like though, Roland?
Well, I've got the plastic on plastic, which I think this person is referring to. Sorry, I missed your name. And I also have cotton t-shirts. Oh, I'm not going to take off, but underneath I have another one. So yeah, so some of them is that sort of, yeah, there's varying qualities. You kind of, I can't make a definitive statement. It's not always, I prefer the cotton, but I am a convert to polyester because I don't know, because it's more versatile and it doesn't, unlike wool, it doesn't itch me. I have a itchy thing with wool.
And I think the idea of the embroidery or the sewing, like that's another, it's more expensive, but it's gorgeous.
Oh, it's super gorgeous. Like,
And I know that Art of Wear does do the embroidery.
yeah, and Granville Island does embroidered baseball caps. Sorry, Make Vancouver. I keep calling them Granville Island. And I believe they also have a Gastown outlet. But their HQ in Vancouver is at Granville Island. They do embroidery. Super expensive, but again, that's a delightful one-off or item of scarcity for a lottery, or 50-50.
Or thank you.
Or thank you, like thank you for sponsoring us, or whatever. Thank you for your donation.
Yeah, to a donor. It's great. Okay. Well, I'm fairly satisfied on this one, and just knowing that there are these tools available to us that no cost, that could give us another way to sort of create meaning or relationship or connection, and maybe even a little bit of a fundraiser with our communities, and to keep our cultural creative expression out there, even at a time where we can't necessarily be gathering, and that we can show solidarity, through our choices of what we buy and wear. So if there's any last questions, why don't you throw them into the chat? And I want to say this is the last AMA for the Digital Ladder season. We would like to know also, and I think you could either email Joyce or put in the chat, when we're considering our programming, if we get our funding to do another season, what kind of AMAs would you like to have? So this program is here to serve the culture community. So if there are things that you would like to see or that you're waiting for, please communicate them back. And I think probably Joyce at the Alliance, and I think there may even be a survey that comes out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there will be a survey coming out to everyone who attended at least one AMA, either later today or tomorrow. So I can include that question also about what folks would like to see in the future. So any, feedback you have on these sessions, anything you liked or didn't like, we would love to hear all of it.
I think a person named Chandra asked a question about how would you run an event. I think I saw. Well, I've actually heard of people hiring a live auctioneer. Like, I don't actually know how that works over Zoom, but you can raise your hand or type in a plus sign, I've heard, indicating you have a bid. I've also heard of people just doing it via text chat or raising their hand in Zoom. There's lots of fun and creative ways you can do an auction or online draw online without gathering in person.
We also have this question here. Can you talk about the apps for photo villas?
Photo villas.
I don't know what photo villa.
What's a photo villa?
Put more. Type of collage for photo collages. Okay. So
oh yeah. So I use an incredibly geeky tool called Image Magic, which is command line driven. So you type in Image Magic space montage, which is the French word for collage or something, and then you have a directory, a folder of images. That's what I use. Because I've been using tools like this since since the 80s, and I'm quite familiar with it. But I believe there are apps, and I believe you can do it in Photoshop. I'm not sure.
This is also where YouTube is your friend. How to make a photo collage, right?
And there are apps. Yeah, I'll try to find when I do the PDF. I used for that. I have a virtual background. Let me see if I can quickly change my virtual background. Yes, I can. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how slow it is. So for this one, there is an app which I cannot remember. For Mac, you give it a shape, like the shape of your head, and then you give it a bunch of photos, and then it makes. So I gave it the shape of ART, art, and then it put the photos in. So there are apps, there's gotta be something. It's more a question of finding it at this point. But I mean, if you're stuck, maybe we can talk for 30 minutes about it. And if worse comes to worse, we'll find a way to get your
If you don't know
collage.
how, bug Roland and he'll rig it up. 'Cause
Yeah, my availability is bad because I work till about 2 o'clock every day, and then Fridays is kind of my free day. So yeah.
But that's the
Oh
very
yeah. There's a whole bunch of these. Yeah, thank you, Annalise.
that's Joyce. Yeah, and then and Annalise, they're both adding in the chat. If you want to save the comments in the chat, what you do is you go down to the text box you would type in, and there's 3 dots,
Ooh.
and you click on the 3 dots, and you say save chat, and it will save all the chat for you.
I'll
onto your
also
local
I'll send out a record of the chat with the other resources that go out.
Well, that'd be great. Thanks, Joyce.
We're just so well cared for, aren't we? So, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say thank you. Thank you, Roland. And I like you say, if you see Roland in real life, you will notice that he is wearing art all the time.
I
And
try.
it is such a commitment to creativity and what we can all do to just make the world a little more feisty and beautiful. It's lovely.
Oh, and I also want to put it out there that when Dr. Bonnie Henry says we can gather outside a bubble, I would love to meet you at a cafe in Vancouver, suitably distanced and masked. Totally.
Good. And we'll all wear our t-shirts made from Vancouver.
Yeah, so I owe you a PDF, and hopefully I'll do some 30-minute free consults with people, and that'll be good.
And so I want to say a big thank you to Joyce, who has been phenomenal through the Digital Ladders program. Roland, who not only did the AMA, but has also been a faculty member for some of the other parts of the Digital Ladders programs. Robert, who's my collaborator, other half on all of this. Brenda, who I think is lurking somewhere or was, who's the ED of the Alliance for Arts and Culture, who just supports us in doing all the producing work. And those of you, Annalise, who's been part of the faculty, and those of you who've been part of our participant group, it has been a lot of fun. And I have to say, this community is fantastic. And there's so many beautiful people doing beautiful things around culture and art and expression. And it's helped get us through this really hard year, just being able to play with all of you. So thank you. And I hope you all get to keep going and that we get to see each other in person sooner than later. So with that, adieu.
And a big thank you to Sue as well for guiding us through all this knowledge and creativity. And thank you to our ASL interpreters and to all of you for being here today.
Thank you, Sue and Robert.
Have a good rest of your day. Get outside if it's not raining.
Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.